My guest is one of the prettiest and most talented female singers in the business today. Anne-Marie, welcome.
Thank you very much.
You've recorded 10 albums, made numerous television, nightclub, and concert appearances around the world, won countless awards, even rode on a float during the Rose Parade. What's next?
Oh, golly, I don't know. I think the next move is probably to keep moving forward. It seems that there's been a very positive progression of things happening in the last 2 years, ever since I got new management. More and more TV exposure, more and more radio exposure, and just get as much exposure as I can and get as popular as I can, and then probably quit.
Have you set any future goals?
Not really. The only thing I could think that I might get into would be some facet of management, some facet of television or radio. But most of all, probably I'd like to produce records.
Do you have any artists in mind that you'd like to produce?
Well, currently I'm producing a record, co-producing a record for my baby brother.
And will this be released in the United States?
Oh, golly, we don't know yet. The album probably won't be finished until May or June. And we'll certainly concentrate on Canada first, I think. But from then on, who knows?
Let's go back now to the beginning. How did Anne-Marie get involved with music?
Well, I've always been involved with music. There was always music around the house. We were encouraged to listen to records and buy records. We were influenced by all sorts of different people, from the Mills Brothers to Mahalia Jackson to Dinah Shore, Perry Como, Bing Crosby. Just about everybody. We all took piano lessons, and when I was 15, I started taking singing lessons, and I took singing lessons for 3 years. I sang things like Italian arias, mostly classical, semi-classical music, and it was just a natural evolution of things. I got into college and sang in the college reviews, and then one summer, the summer I graduated from college, I decided to audition for a TV show, and I got on the show, and that was sort of it.
Now, I understand you were the only girl to several brothers.
I had 5 brothers. Fun.
Do you still play softball?
Oh, no. No, I gave that up when I was about 13, and I noticed that all the other girls were going out on dates, and all the guys wanted me to be the center fielder, so I threw away my softball glove, or baseball glove, I guess it was, and put on a dress, and things changed from then on.
Mm-hmm. Now, I also understand you started in college as a PE teacher.
I got a degree in physical education and taught school for 1 year, but the lure of show business got a hold of me, and I loved the year I taught school. It was probably the best year of my life so far, and most enjoyable. But I think this career was one thing that if I hadn't tried it, I'd kick myself.
Now let's throw a couple names at you. Sing Along Jubilee and Let's Go.
Yeah.
What are these?
Well, Sing Along Jubilee was the TV show that I told you I auditioned for. It was a summer replacement show, and it went right across the country. It came out of Halifax, Nova Scotia, but it went right across Canada. So in effect, I started out on a national television show, which is kind of a lucky break, albeit the show was only a summer replacement. Then the next year I got on a show called Let's Go, which was a teeny bop show. Again, it came out of Halifax. And it was on sometime, I guess something like 5:30 in the afternoon. And we just sang all the songs from the charts of 1968, I think that was, 1968.
Now, let's see, we're going to put one of our surprises on you. We dig into our file here. We've come up with this.
Oh, Lord. Yeah. What can I say? Where did you get... Oh, I see now. This is released in the States now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On a budget label.
Yeah, well, this is the first album I ever did.
Mm-hmm.
And I was still doing the TV show we mentioned, and these people, they were a small Canadian company, came after me and said, why not record? I remember I got $500 for recording the album, and not a cent more ever since either. And that was the material we had to take to Capitol Records and say, well, this is what we do. You know, this is the kind of stuff we do. And on the strength of that, Capitol signed me.
Now, one tune that you recorded for that album, you've recorded again.
What About Me? I guess something about you're not allowed to record until 5 years after. If you record a song one time, you have to wait 5 years before you record it again. That is on another label, I mean. And I was using it as an opener for my live show, and it's a very effective opener. And we had to have an album when Danny's song became a hit. And we had one side down, but we didn't have the other. So we recorded a live concert, and What About Me was included in that concert. We had to fill up the other side of the album.
Do you have plans for another live album?
Not right away. Haven't really thought of it. But there probably will be.
Now, there was an album in Capitol on Canada or something like that called This Is My Way.
This Way Is My Way. That was my very first Capitol album. We went in and told them we were interested in signing with them if they indeed could come up with a half-decent deal. And we'd already been to several other companies, and they all offered me the same deal as we'd already had. And I said, well, we've been through that, you know. So Capitol said, we told them exactly what we wanted, and they said, okay. They surprised the hell out of us because they said that, you know. And we had convinced each other that we were the greatest thing since sliced bread, but deep down we didn't believe it. So when we asked for all these things and they said yes, we walked out shaking our heads. And we spent $18,000 on that first album, which surprised them too. But that was the album that Snowbird was on. And the Snowbird album in the U.S. is a combination of my first two Canadian albums.
How did the song Snowbird come about?
Well, I was living in Halifax and got a call from the guy who produced the show. And he said, come over quick and listen to this guy sing. And it was Gene McClellan, and he had come down to audition for the show as well. And he just sat in the corner and sang Snowbird, Put Your Hand in the Hand, just biding my time. And I just fell down. I couldn't believe it. And I couldn't believe that the songs were so great and had never been recorded. But of course, I'd only done one album, so. And I lived with the songs over the summer, sang them to various people, and everybody really liked them. And then recorded them that fall, which was the fall of '69.
Now, you've recorded quite a few other works by other Canadian artists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's, let me think, Rob McNeil, who I've recorded at least 3 of his things. He used to play guitar for me when I started playing live shows in and around the east coast of Canada. And he's turned into a very talented writer. Peter Pringle, Peter Cornell, I guess, on the earlier albums. I've done 3 or 4 of his. The latest one I did is a song called Please Don't Sell Nova Scotia.
Are they going to sell it?
Well, I think they may stop the sale of it because it has been being sold for the last 50 years to almost anybody who wants to buy it, and it's a shame because people buy it and just leave it hanging around, and they don't really care. They're just speculators who buy the land and wait for it to increase in value and then resell it again.
Have you had any thought of doing any of your own songwriting?
No, I can't really think of any reason right now to do it. It's the hip thing to do nowadays. The people who are writing songs and singing themselves are considered to be a little more hip than people who don't. But I don't know. There's sometimes a danger in writing and recording your own songs, because I've noticed that there's a sameness. You know, I won't mention any artists, but you listen to a whole album of a singer-songwriter, not all of them, but some of them, and I tend to get a little bit bored after a while. If they mix them up with other people's material as well, I think it's probably easier on the ear.
Now, you've been very versatile. You've been singing soft ballads like He Still Thinks I Care, and you've been also singing some more up-tempo things. Which do you prefer?
Well, I like to do everything. I've received some criticism from people who were used to hearing me in the middle of the road vein, and as soon as I started singing rock and roll, they said, well, that's not the kind of thing you do best. And I said, well, how do you know? Because that was what I was singing long before I was singing slow ballads. I was singing rock and roll. And I'll throw in a country song, and then next thing you know, I'll throw in a pop song. And people aren't sure how to take it, you know. And there's been all this talk about my changing my image and not wanting to be involved in country music, and none of it's true. I like to do it all. If music is good, I think it should be sung, whether it be country, rock, pop, however you want to categorize it. I hate categories. Just like to sing good music.
Now, you've taken a couple old rock tunes and you've revived them with your new Anne Murray touch.
Yeah. Well, those are all songs, the rock and roll songs that I've recorded lately are songs that I didn't have the nerve to do before on earlier albums, because I wasn't doing exactly what I wanted it on those earlier albums, because I was being steered in a certain direction. But now I feel I have total freedom. I can do what I want. And those have been songs that have been on an album list, a list of songs to do. And as I say, I didn't really have the nerve to record them. But lately I said, why not? Because Dream Lover has been a favorite song of mine ever since whenever Bobby Darin recorded it. You Won't See Me, the Beatles song, it's been a favorite, I think my favorite Beatles song since Rubber Soul. And people say, oh yeah, you're cashing in like everyone else on the oldies but goodies revival. Well, that wasn't why I did the songs. There's only one that I can say that's true of, and that's Day Tripper. And I wish I hadn't done it. But that doesn't happen too often. I'm usually pretty satisfied with what I do.
Are there any more rock songs you're going to go after that you've been secretly desiring to record?
I think I've probably got them all covered by now in one album or another.
Now, in about 1973, you had another hit called Danny's Song that sort of brought you back into the spotlight.
Thank
How about
goodness.
this song?
Well, I got the song from Loggins and Messina's first album. Somebody sent it to me, and I listened and fell in love with that song. And I really needed a hit badly. There were 2 to 3 years of lull in there. 2 years, I guess. 2.5. And I said, well, here are 4 songs. I gave them Killing Me Softly, gave them Danny's Song, and 2 others. He Thinks I Still Care, and another one. And I said, I'd really appreciate it if you'd make one of them a hit. Because I'm convinced that if somebody really wants to make a song a hit, they can do it. It's quite obvious by a lot of the garbage you hear, you know. So they surprised me, and they made it a hit, and I didn't have an album to back it up. And I think we lost a lot of sales and so on albums because of that. We were like 3 months behind in getting an album out. But that's started things again.
Now, then you did something from a movie.
Yeah, I did Send a Little Love My Way. It wasn't my favorite song by any stretch of the imagination. It was one of those things that, opportunities that come along, and it was an opportunity to work with Stanley Kramer, with Henry Mancini, Hal David, and people of that stature. And I had never done the theme for a movie. And it was really fun to do, and a real treat to work with those people. They're such professionals. And of course, as you know, the movie was a box office disaster, but it was still fun to do.
Do you have any plans to do any movies, any acting in any movies?
No, not really, because I figure if it's taken me this long to pull what I do best together, then if it's going to take me this long to pull an acting thing together, I'm kind of a perfectionist, and I'd really want to do it well. And if it took me 6, 7 years to do that, that's too much of a slice out of my life. You know, I've had a big enough slice now. And no, I don't think so. I know there's a correlation between the stage and acting, but I'm not really that interested. When I was a kid, that was the only thing I wanted to be, was an actress. Until I realized that all those magazines were just a sham. They were full of gossip and rumor, you know, untruths and so on.
Now, in 1974, you went back and recorded another Loggins and Messina tune.
Yeah, I was down here doing a midnight special, and somebody called me and said that, a friend of mine called me and said that Loggins and Messina were in the studio recording, not far from where we were doing our thing. So I went over, and when they finished doing a take, Kenny sat down and sang me Love Song and Watching the River Run. And so I took them back and put them both down on an album. And Love Song did very well. I was going to release Watching the River Run as a follow-up, but they did it. They put it out, and nothing happened with it. But I don't know if anything would have happened with me either.
Now you have a brand new album out on Capitol Records, Highly Prized Possession. Why don't you take us on a trip through the album?
Wow, I'd have to see it, because I can't remember what's on it. People tell me that it's a complete departure from me. I don't know that it is or not. I just chose songs that I liked again, as usual. People say, oh, wow, this is really different. I think it's probably most different because there isn't very much country on it. There just weren't any country songs around that I really wanted to do. For some reason, people think that you calculate an album really carefully. I don't. I just gather songs around, and if they feel right, I put them on the album. And if there are like 3 or 4 country songs at that particular time, then I'll record them. Or if there are 3 or 4 rock songs that I want to do, I'll record them. But nothing's really all that preconceived. It sort of just falls into place, you know.
Now you have a brand new single out called Uproar.
Yeah, that's kind of a fun song. In the beginning, it was just kind of a throwaway fun thing that we wanted to do. Because I love to put change of pace things on an album, you know, because Highly Prized Possession gets pretty heavy with Highly Prized Possession, Saved by the Grace of Love. When we both had the time to love, and those are all fairly heavy songs. I think it's nice to throw in something that's fun, you know, and Uproar is one of those fun things.
Your mind's not distressed, I hope.
Oh, no, not at all.
Are there any plans for you to have any TV specials or a TV series of your own?
Well, there's talk, and I think that almost every performer you talk to nowadays, if they're the least bit successful, can say that, well, there's talk about my having a TV show. There's something in the works now, but I don't know. I can't really comment until it's definite, you know. But it's so important to get that kind of exposure. Even if you have 6 television shows in a row, it makes all the difference in the world. So we'll see. It'll be nice, I think. I've been doing a lot of guest appearances on television, and that again helps because I've been on vacation. I was on vacation from the 1st of December until, let's see, almost the end of January. So it's time to get my face back on the screen again.
Now when you have some free time, how do you like to spend it?
Well, this year I got involved in doing an album with my younger brother. I spent that time doing that. Plus, when you spend so much time on the road, I was on the road all fall. I spent at least a week to 2 weeks pulling together the things that happen at home and the business end of what I do. Because I make all the ultimate decisions, and I have to sit around with people and discuss where we go next and all that kind of thing. Then after that was all taken care of, I went home for Christmas. And then for New Year's I went to Nassau.
What is Murray's Marauders?
Murray's Marauders? I don't know.
Oh,
Where did you see that?
in another part of the magazine.
Oh, really? I suppose it refers to the people who surround me. I don't know. People make up things like all that.
understand that you have a backup band which has, well, I saw even the two names.
Oh, Richard. Yeah, well, at one time they recorded an album. They were gonna sign with Capitol Records. And I don't know. I think maybe that deal has come through, and they had to think of a name, and they called themselves Richard. Um, Actually, they called themselves Dick, and I wouldn't use that on stage. I still don't know where the name came from, and I'm scared to ask.
Who are the members in the band?
Well, there's Skip Beckwith, who's the leader. He's been with me since the very first day I did a live concert, I think. I was putting together, he put together the first band I ever had. And he's the bass player. And Don Thompson plays sax, Butch Watton now he plays trombone. And Andy Cree plays drums. Bob Cardwell plays lead guitar. George Rivera plays rhythm guitar. Let me see. What else? Pat Ricky Jr. plays piano and organ.
But what can we watch for anybody coming weeks and videos?
Well, I'll be doing a Smothers Brothers show, a Mac Davis show, a Merv Griffin show, a Guy Shore show. Golly, I don't know. I think I'll be going to Europe at the end of March, spending a whole month in Europe. Then May and June will be spent doing a major tour of the United States.
And how far the future is going to be for another album?
We'll probably work on another album this summer, during July and August probably.
Are there any special projects that anybody is involved in?
No, not really. In Canada, I'm the what do you call honorary president of the National Association for the Mentally Retarded. I've been for 3 years now. That's really the only thing that I've been heavily involved in. That's really part of my private life. A lot of people use the stage as a podium for their causes, but I don't believe in that. I believe that the stage should be used strictly for entertainment. There's enough, we see enough crap on television and in newspapers and so on. I think people grow to get away from that.
I keep listening to the other I've been working some records here at our station, and I've noticed that there are quite a few people who sound a lot like Anne Murray. What do you think of that?
I don't know. I've never heard anybody. I've been accused of sounding like people, but I don't know if I do or not. I guess I don't think I do, but I guess that's up to other people.
You sound like Anne Murray. You sound like Anne Murray.
I hope I do.
But what is the real Anne Murray like? I mean, everybody sees you on the TV or they hear you on the record. What are you really like?
I don't know. I think that I'm just like everybody else. I think I have a good sense of humor, which is absolutely necessary for this business.
What's that joke?
No, I'm not very much of a joke. I'm new to jokes. We have in Canada. No, I like to have fun. It's really important to have a good time